Yo, shots freaking fired. Like, Isshiki, my boy, my man, my dude. Whoa. Like, chill. That's your childhood friend. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know you're very serious and you're very protective of your kohais and all that, but my man, like, that was some savage stuff to say to Nene. Like, he's like, you know, you might not get to face me and all that. That's probably not going to happen. You first got to defeat the chef Yukihiro Soma. He's probably going to defeat you. And you just see Nene's face just so shocked and terrified. You're like, holy crap. Like, you know, she was kind of underestimating Soma the entire time and all that. Just already looking towards the next battle with Isshiki. And not even looking at, you know, Yukihiro Soma. And he's like, you best pay attention to him and all that. And I'm just like, oh my god. Like, that cliffhanger. Like, easily the highlight of the episode. Like, easily the best part of this week's episode of Food Wars. No joke. It was, yeah, that caught me by surprise. Like, I've always liked Isshiki. He's not one of my, like, he wasn't one of my favorites, but I gotta probably reevaluate my favorite characters of Food Wars now because of these episodes. Like, that was intense. I didn't think the man would be that intense and that serious and all that towards his childhood friend at that. Like, he knows this girl. He grew up with her, but he said something like that. Okay, but let's get into that. So let's get into Isshiki and Nene's their childhood, okay? So we get some good characterization for Isshiki. Isshiki, he is someone that is a gifted winner, or someone that's just truly gifted. Someone that if they put their mind to something, they can truly accomplish something very great. It's kind of like this. If he liked music and he put his mind to learning an instrument, he would learn it and be very excellent at it. Probably one of the best musicians that you could potentially ever be. If he wanted to be a pro-professional gamer, he could probably be one of the best pro-professional gamers. If he wanted to be a professional runner, to be able to run track and all that, he probably could be a professional. Basically, Isshiki as a character, he quickly picks up and learns things. When he is introduced to something or taught something, he can quickly learn it in a couple of tries. And it doesn't just stop there. When he starts to use it, he shows abnormal skill. He shows skill that is not truly normal at all. He's a very gifted person. And because of this, it led to Nene being a little bit, I guess, having an inferiority complex. She felt inferior compared to Isshiki and how he was as a person. Because she realized that Isshiki, if he really set his mind to it, if he really wanted to be a #1 chef, he could easily become one of the best chefs there ever was. But the thing is, he lacks motivation. He lacks the ability to continue pressing forward. It's a Shikamaru situation. If you ever have watched Naruto or read the manga, then you know about Shikamaru and how he's a very intelligent, you know, character, and if he puts his mind to something, he can do some crazy things, but most of the time he's just straight up lazy. And that's kind of what you can attach to the situation with Isshiki, is that he's just lazy. He doesn't want to do anything. The only time he'll truly get serious is when, like, something he truly personally cares about. For instance, like, you know, his kohai, his underclassmen. For instance, if anything happens to them, he gets all serious and tries to protect them. But for the most part, he doesn't take anything too seriously. So it was nice to get that type of characterization for Isshiki, letting us know why he is where he's at, his spot with the Elite Ten, or where it was, and where he could potentially be if he actually tried. Which does make me wonder, if he really did try, I wonder what spot he would be at. Would he potentially be the #1 or top 3? I don't know. That's not really clarified. I mean, his cooking is abnormal. His skill on learning things is also abnormal. So for all we know, he is pretty much a #1 chef. Now, speaking of #1 chefs, there's also something else that was revealed with this episode that I was pretty surprised about, but which I feel like is going to open the door for something in the future for Shokugeki no Soma. WGO, yeah, I think World Gourmet Organization, I believe that was their name, they were introduced in this episode. Now, this organization basically tastes restaurants' different food and gives them a star, 2 stars, or 3 stars, and depending on how good it is, depends on how many stars they have. And for instance, if you get a star by this organization, your reputation skyrockets. It's kind of like this. let's say, you know, you are Yukihiro Soma's, you know, family, you know, you're Soma and you're working at the diner. You have no stars. He basically has no stars. He's not recognized in, you know, the WGO. He's not in their books or whatever. Basically, he's a no-name restaurant, off the grid. And let's say they were to come into a shop, they were to taste his food, evaluate it. They're like, this is worthy of a star, or 2 stars, or 3 stars. His fame and reputation would jump straight up, and the reputation of the restaurant would jump up as well, and it would become very famous, and a lot of people would rush to get as much food as they can. And that's pretty much what was being established in this episode, is that the WGO, they have the potential possibility of either ruining someone's career or establishing it and making a no-name really jump up, which is kind of what Soma is. I feel like before everything is said and done, looking at the way this arc is being structured, I feel like even if Soma's crew wins or loses, the WGO is going to definitely pop up once again, probably to judge Yukihiro's food for his diner and determine if it's, you know, worthy of a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star restaurant, which could lead into a bigger arc in the future of Food Wars. I feel like that's kind of what was being set up here with the content that we got, especially with the introduction of WGO. It doesn't feel like something just to be introduced, just to be used for the central, you know, Team Shokugeki and just move on forward. It definitely has to be something very vital, important. So that's my guess. That's my personal guess of what I think is going on here, and most likely that's the role they're going to play once this arc is done. Now, speaking of this arc, WGO, or the judges that are here, they established the fact that they are not going to be crusty, they are not going to be heinous, they are actually going to fairly judge the food no matter what. Regardless if you come from a poor family, a rich family, a, you know, crap restaurant or a good restaurant, they're judging everybody, you know, with equality. They don't want to, you know, say, we're not going to taste her. They're not picking sides. They're just going to taste food and determine if it's worthy to be the winner. So that does let us know that this is not going to be a ring match. It really does just come down to skill. But the thing is, they are famous judges. They are from the WGO, which means that their standards are very high. Regardless of how good of a chef Soma is, and how he can just bring things together and all that with random dishes that are of low quality and turn it into some, like, 5-star, 3-star restaurant quality, the thing is, that's probably not going to cut it this time, because WGO, they have tasted probably so much food at this point that barely anything really surprises them, and they need something to really satisfy their palate. And because of that, I feel like that's going to lead to some problems for Soma if he doesn't make something very unique, something that, you know, breaks the norm, something, which he does normally do that, but if he doesn't do something that is very different and, you know, really piques their interest, he's going to fail. So that is something that is going to be very key to his victory against Nene. Now, speaking of, you know, the key to victory and all that, the cooking right now, so Soma's cooking really in this episode, it doesn't progress that much. He's still kind of, you know, making noodles throughout the episode, and that's about it. So there wasn't a whole lot of progression going on with Nene and Soma when it came to their, you know, Team Shokugeki match. It was just pretty much in a standstill throughout the episode. This episode mainly wanted to focus on Isshiki and his opponent and how he took him down, which, let's, you know, talk about that. So Isshiki, he was, throughout the entirety of this episode, he was pretty much getting completely serious, not joking around, and really trying to defeat the opponent he was up against, which was a very bad idea. Because, I mean, if you're wanting to win this, trying to bring out the beast that is, you know, Isshiki is probably not a way to win. And I feel like this is probably going to be the last time that any of the other chefs that go up against Isshiki is going to try to, you know, bait him out. I feel like they're not going to try to bait him out ever again, because he just annihilated the dude. No competition whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, we also had, you know, glorious foodgasms throughout the episode, which is what we've come to know and love from Food Wars, so nothing wrong with that. I mean, we even had some great comedy scenes, so I mean, it was a pretty enjoyable episode, but that was about it. It's a very simplistic episode with some good details with WGO, Isshiki, and his backstory, childhood, and all of that, and how, you know, they were childhood friends, Nene and him, so it's pretty simple, and that's about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.